Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. You've probably heard this rhyme, but do you know the full, explosive story behind it? Let's travel back to the foggy, treacherous streets of 17th century London, a time of deep religious division and royal paranoia. This isn't just a story about a failed plot. It's a tale of desperation, betrayal, and a plan that, if successful, would have decapitated the entire English government and plunged the nation into chaos. So, grab a seat and let's uncover the true story of the Gunpowder Plot. To understand why a group of men would want to blow up the Houses of Parliament, we first need to understand the world they lived in. For decades, England had been in religious turmoil. After King Henry VIII broke from the Catholic Church, his daughter, Queen Elizabeth I, established Protestantism as the state religion. Catholics were seen as potential traitors, loyal to a foreign power, the Pope in Rome. They were forced to practice their faith in secret, facing fines, imprisonment, or even execution. When Elizabeth I died in 1603, Catholics hoped for a better future under the new king, James I. His mother, Mary, Queen of Scots, had been a Catholic martyr, and his wife, Anne of Denmark, was a known Catholic sympathizer. Surely, he would be more tolerant. Initially, it seemed their hopes were justified. King James spoke of easing the harsh laws against Catholics. But the political pressure from powerful Protestants was immense. Instead of repealing the anti-Catholic laws, James I reinforced them. He even called Catholic priests venomous wasps. For many English Catholics, this was the ultimate betrayal. Their hopes for a peaceful existence were shattered. In the face of this renewed persecution, a small group of devout, well-connected Catholic gentlemen decided that if they couldn't get justice through politics, they would seize it through destruction. Enter Robert Catesby. If this were a movie, Catesby would be our central character, charismatic, wealthy, and fiercely committed to his cause. He was a natural leader who commanded respect and loyalty. But he was also a man pushed to the edge. Having seen his family suffer for their faith, Catesby was convinced that only a drastic, shocking act could restore Catholicism to England. He began to assemble a team, a band of brothers bound by faith and frustration. His first recruit was his cousin, Thomas Wintour. He also brought in John Wright, a renowned swordsman, and later a man whose name would become infamous throughout history, Guy Fawkes. Fawkes was different. He had spent years fighting for Catholic Spain in the Netherlands, making him an explosives expert with military discipline and nerves of steel. He was the perfect man to handle the dirty work. The plan was as simple as it was audacious. Blow up the Houses of Parliament during the state opening on November 5, 1605. This wasn't just about destroying a building, it was about timing. On that day, the king, his eldest son Prince Henry, and all the key members of Protestant government, the lords, the bishops, and the members of Parliament would be gathered in one place. One massive explosion would wipe them all out in a single fiery moment. With the government in ruins, the plotters planned to kidnap the king's young daughter, Princess Elizabeth, install her as a puppet Catholic queen, and ignite a popular uprising across the Midlands, led by their wealthy friends. It was a high-stakes gamble for the soul of the nation. To execute their plan, they needed a base of operations. First, they rented a house right next to the Parliament building. Their initial idea was to dig a tunnel from the cellar of their house into the foundations of the House of Lords. For months, they toiled in secret, digging through dirt and stone in the dark, damp earth. The work was back-breaking and slow, but then, a stroke of luck or so they thought. They learned that a cellar, a coal storage vault, directly beneath the House of Lords chamber was available for rent. It was almost too good to be true. Using the alias John Johnson, Guy Fawkes, posing as a servant, secured the lease. The tunneling stopped. Now, they could simply move the gunpowder right where they needed it. Over the next few months, under the cover of darkness, the conspirators smuggled an astonishing 36 barrels of gunpowder into the cellar. That's nearly a ton of explosive material. They carefully hid the barrels under a pile of firewood and coal ready to be ignited. Guy Fawkes was chosen for the most critical role. He would be the one to light the fuse. He was to wait in the cellar until the final moment, light a long fuse, and then escape across the River Thames before the entire area was consumed by a massive fireball. The stage was set. The gunpowder was in place. All they had to do was wait for November 5th. As the date approached, the conspirators felt a mix of nervous anticipation and righteous conviction. They believed they were acting on God's will. But as the day drew near, a crack appeared in their secret circle. A moral dilemma began to trouble some of the plotters. Their blast would kill not only their Protestant enemies, but also innocent servants and even some Catholic lords who, despite their faith, had seats in Parliament. Was it right to sacrifice the innocent alongside the guilty? This question haunted one conspirator in particular, believed to be Francis Treason. On the night of October 26th, just 10 days before the planned attack, Treason decided he couldn't live with the potential guilt. He sent an anonymous letter to his brother-in-law, Lord Monteagle, a Catholic noble. The letter was cryptic and strange. It warned Monteagle to stay away from Parliament on November 5th, saying they shall receive a terrible blow this Parliament, and yet they shall not see who hurts them. Monteagle was confused but concerned. He didn't dismiss it as a prank. Instead, he took the letter straight to Robert Cecil, the king's chief minister and spy master. Cecil was a shrewd operator. He read the letter and, while the plotters were celebrating what they thought was their final secret meeting, the government was already quietly investigating. Cecil decided to wait. He wanted to catch the conspirators red-handed. He ordered a search of the Parliament cellars, but not immediately. He played a waiting game, letting the plotters believe they were still safe. In the late hours of November 4th, on the very eve of the planned explosion, the trap was finally sprung. A search party, led by Sir Thomas Knivet, descended into the cellars beneath Parliament. There, they found a lone figure standing guard over a pile of firewood. It was Guy Fawkes, calling himself John Johnson. At first, he was calm, but the guards were thorough. They pulled away the wood and coal and uncovered barrel after barrel of gunpowder. Fawkes was arrested on the spot. In his pockets, they found a slow-burning fuse and a watch, the tools he needed to time the detonation. The game was up. Initially, Fawkes was defiant. Under questioning, he confessed his name was John Johnson and that his goal was to blow the Scottish beggars back to Scotland. He refused to name his co-conspirators, but King James I, eager to uncover the full extent of the conspiracy, authorized the use of torture. After several days of intense interrogation in the Tower of London, Fawkes's spirit was broken. His signature on his confession, barely a scrawl, shows the physical toll the torture took on him. He revealed everything, the names, the plan, and the motive. As news of Fawkes's capture spread, the other plotters panicked. Robert Catesby and the remaining conspirators fled London, desperately trying to start their planned uprising in the Midlands. But with their plot exposed, no one would join them. They were now fugitives. The end came swiftly. The remaining plotters were cornered at Holbeck House in Staffordshire. In a final, tragic irony, some of their remaining gunpowder, which they had laid out to dry by the fire, accidentally ignited, injuring several of them, including Catesby. A gunfight with the sheriff's men ensued. Robert Catesby, the charismatic leader, was shot and killed? The survivors were captured and taken back to London to face trial. In January 1606, Guy Fawkes and the other surviving conspirators were tried for high treason. The verdict was never in doubt. They were sentenced to be publicly hanged, drawn, and quartered, a gruesome punishment designed to deter any future traitors. But Guy Fawkes cheated the executioner. As he climbed the scaffold, he jumped from the ladder, breaking his own neck and dying instantly, thus avoiding the agony of the final part of the execution. In the aftermath, King James and his government declared November 5th a day of public thanksgiving for the nation's deliverance. To this day, Bonfire Night is celebrated across Britain. People light bonfires, set off fireworks, and burn effigies of Guy Fawkes. But over time, the meaning has shifted. For many, Guy Fawkes is no longer just a villain. His iconic mask, popularized by the graphic novel and film V for Vendetta, has become a global symbol of protest against tyranny and government overreach. A man who was once the ultimate traitor is now, for some, a revolutionary hero. The Gunpowder Plot remains a powerful reminder of how religious intolerance and political desperation can lead people to commit extreme acts, and how one single, secret letter changed the course of British history forever. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. What other historical events would you like to see covered? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.